Here at Jerez, we are getting ready for the first race for the European element of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. It is the annual World Final weekend. It is where the regional championships come together and have their final two races, championships decided. And then Saturday and Sunday, the World Final itself gets underway. And we're looking forward to what should be a very, very good first race for the European Championship runners, because, again, it's a championship that is up for grabs. And 4 classes operate within each of the regional series. You've got the Pro-Ams, the AMS, and the Lamborghini Cup. And pretty much everything is up at stake here as far as the European teams are concerned. The grid is formed. We are ready to go racing. David Addison trackside. Marietta Evans is down on the grid. And so, too, perhaps one or two elements of concern, because the championship leading car, that of Sergei Afanasiev and Danny Cruz, has been sitting on the grid with a bit of smoke coming from it, and the team rocking the car as though they've found a problem and are trying to get to the bottom of it. But it's a rather concerning situation that the championship leaders from the Pro Cup do not need going into the first race of the weekend. Sergei Afanasiev, Danny Cruz have this 5-point advantage over Kiko Galbiati and Vito Postiglione. Vito, who has come oh so close to winning the championship for years past, but never quite been able to achieve the title. He desperately wants to do it this weekend, this season, and indeed is ahead by 1 row on the grid. The championship leaders are on the 3rd row. And on this sunny morning, we're approaching 11:45 local time. The car's set for a 50-minute race. Mandatory pit stops, of course, there. The hospitality building that overlooks the pit straight. It's a very spectacular part of the circuit, that, to go and see the cars hammer underneath you, and then you can see bits of the first part of the circuit. So we have the cars on the grid, and let's see whether we might be able to grab a word with Sergei Afanasiev, because he is understandably perhaps a bit concerned about what's going on for the number 3 car ready for this first race of the weekend.
The championship, just a minute ago, there was a lot of smoke coming out of the car. What was happening?
Everything is okay. We're pretty calm. It's just another day and another race. Everything will be super good, and we have just to enjoy like everyone else.
Your rivals are just in front of you. What's the strategy for today?
They have to be nervous, because then he will try to pass, and he will do it.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Good luck to you.
So Sergei Afanasiev playing it cool and trying to put the pressure psychologically on Vito Postiglione and Kiko Galbiati. 3rd in the championship, the British drivers, Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton. Now they are also a row ahead. The front row has got, if you like, 2 spoilers here, because one of the cars, the pole position car, is going to be driven by Fredrik Schandorf, who shares, and he's not part of the championship fight, with Jonathan Takato. And then alongside is Alberto Defalco and Davidi Venditti. Now, they are quick, they are series regulars, but in Pro-Am. So as far as the pro fight is concerned, it really starts on row 2 for the championship. And another car that's going to be worth watching is also on the 3rd row, alongside the Cruz Afanasiev entry. It's the Conrad car of Axel Jeffries that he will share with Vincent Schwarz, the young German driver. So the grid is formed. It is complete. As far as I can see, there are no gaps, no stragglers in the pit lane. It means that we've got 24 cars ready for this first race for the Super Trofeo Europe. And it's going to be the blue car of Fredrik Schandorf then that starts on pole position. The Danish driver, who's come from Formula Ford racing through the Sirocco Cup, the Danish Thundersport Championship, drove in Super Trofeo Europe, and this year has been driving in both the Blancpain GT series in Asia and also the Middle East Super Trofeo at the start of the season, which is an increasingly popular championship. Drivers going out and having a bit of mileage at the start of the season and getting a feel for these cars. So the field blasts away, formation lap, and then we should be able to go racing. Now, the earlier race for the European and the Asian drivers had a slightly confused start with an extra formation lap and then a safety car lap because a bit of liquid had been spilt up at turn 1. I think we should be good to go racing at the end of this lap, however, for European drivers, with Fredrik Schandorf and Alberto Defalco sharing the front row of the grid. The name in yellow is the start driver. Second row of the grid, you'll have Vito Postiglione in the green Imperiale racing car there, going through shot. And it will be Jack Bartholomew, Brit for Bonaldi, that lines up along the side. On the 3rd row of the grid, Danny Cruz, the Dutch driver First season of racing in Super Trofeo, could be the champion. He will start, and alongside him is the Zimbabwean driver Axel Jeffries in the Franz Conrad run entry with Vincent Schwartz as the co-driver. It's going to be interesting to see how they get on here, because neither of them have done a full season. Schwartz is new to these cars, but he's done quite a bit of racing at a lower level in Germany. Then you've got Josef Zaruba lining up alongside the Belgian driver Anthony Lambert, and they are on the fourth row of the grid. Row 5, Jake Rattenbury in the car that he shares with Mikko Eskelinen. Jake Rattenbury, the Welsh driver, Mikko Eskelinen, the Finn, and then Raffaele Giannoni, who is a quick AM, but that's the AM front row, effectively. Jake Rattenbury taking the point for the class pole position. Gilles Vanelay is on the next row of the grid, sharing the car with Nicolas Gomart. Nicolas, who is the leader of the AM Championship. He's had 5 wins, 2 to Gilles Vanelay, who joined him late as a co-driver. Robert Zwinger has had a couple of class wins, lines up alongside. Then you've got the car of Andrei Lewandowski and Carole Bosch. Now that's a Pro-Am entry. They've not run together before, but the two Poles then get together with Jose Collado, second in Lamborghini Cup in the championship for company on that row of the grid. Next up is Shota Abkazova, who is champion-elect in Pro-Am, the Georgian, with Harold Schlegelmilch. And then you've got Oscar Lee sharing with Fedel Leib on the outside of that row. Next up, Raf Michrut, and then the young Brit Jack Butel sharing with Stephen Licorice. They're getting together for the first time. Then it is the Semoulin father and son. Francois Semoulin starts, and alongside will be the experienced German driver Oliver Freimuth. On the next row of the grid, Gerard van der Horst. Now this will be a car to watch. Gerard van der Horst has made a bit of a habit of winning the Lamborghini Cup over the years, but he's now in Pro-Am because he's got former champion Loris Spinelli with him all of a sudden, and Spinelli very, very quick alongside his Superchai Wirabor Wampong. Then you've got Hans Fabry, and the back of the grid is Kurt Wagner in the Michenek Motorsport car. So everybody now, as they come down towards the Senna chicane, getting into that Noah's Ark 2x2 formation, and then the cars will start to turn their way up to the approach to the Curva Ferrari, then the Curva Lorenzo, up to the start of the race. Number 30 here is Anthony Lambert, the Lambert Motorsport car. Belgian driver, quick Belgian driver as well as Anthony Lambert, who's come from Super Trofeo, TCR, 24-hour races as well. On his toes, though, there is Alberto Defalco, the very feisty Italian, on the outside of the front row of the grid. Alberto Defalco, Pro-Am champion in the European Series back in 2014 with Andrea Amici. We are about to go racing then. The race director, Daniele Galbiati, will give the signal if he's happy to get the race underway. Everybody needs to be in good order. The lights on the gantry go green, we go racing. Really good start by Postiglione in the green car. Dives through on the inside line there, goes for the gap in the middle, and he's up on the outside line. Bit of leaning, but he's gone second. Bartholomew round the outside of Cruz, putting the pressure on there, but Postiglione tries to force the issue up on the inside line. Right now, though, it is Fredrik Schandorf that leads the way as they come out of turn 2. Vito Postiglione, good start, goes second, and down the hill they come. Alberto Defalco runs in 3rd place, and actually the one that has lost out a little bit is Jack Bartholomew, because by the look of it, up ahead of him has gone, yes he has, Axel Jeffries. So Schandorf leading, Postiglione 2nd, Venditti is 3rd, Cruz 4th, Jeffries 5th, Bartholomew 6th, meaning the pressure now will be on his co-driver, which is Stuart Middleton for the 2nd stint. Down to turn 6 they come for the first time. Can Schandorf get away here as he brakes, turns into the hairpin? He shares this Target racing car with Jonathan Takato, no stranger to Lamborghini Super Trofeo. More battles go on lower down the order. Gilles Vanelay trying to gain ground against Robert Zwinger as they come then through to the midpoint of the opening lap of 50 minutes of racing. Mandatory pit stops between 20 and 30. And 1 or 2 drivers being very brave on their toes, looking for a gap on the inside line. Not an easy circuit at which to overtake. Very much these days more bikes than cars, but it's a good level playing field as Oscar Lee gets all sideways, loses 1, loses 2 places there, going up through turn 9 and the approach to turn 10 as the leader, Fredrik Schandorf, comes now down through the run up towards turn 12, out of the Curva Ferrari, then towards the Curva Lorenzo. Turn 13 to round out the lap, 79 goes through, that being Jose Collado leading the Lamborghini Cup. He's 2nd in the championship against the Semoulins. Over the timing line goes 31. So Fredrik Schandorf leads the way. Gap back. Postiglione 2nd, a 2nd adrift. 3rd is Defalco leading his class. 4th is Cruz. And then you've got Jeffries in 5th and Bartholomew in 6th place. So out of the right-hander of turn 2 they come. Jake Rattenbury is the leading am at the moment, and Shotrab Kazava heading pro-am as the cars dive down towards the approach now to turn 5. This is the curve as Cito pulls through that right-hander. So they're through number 3, Danny Cruz, the championship leader, but he's running 4th in the race, 4th in class at the moment. In other words, the pressure is on here to try and find a little bit of time, if possible, from somewhere. Now, is that going to be done in the stint? Is it going to be done in the second part of the race or on the pit stops? The squad that operates that championship leading car, the Bonaldi Motorsport team, very good on pit stops this year. We've seen that. So the leaders out of turn 6. Fredrik Schandorf leads the way for Target Racing. They're going through with Superchai Wiraborwampong, number 71, the very distinctive bright orange car. Soloist for M-Tech, Mike Edmonds' team. And Superchai Wiraborwampong, the Thai driver, hustles on as there is the leader getting away. Vito Postiglione, despite that good start, not for the moment being able to really go with him, is he? So that gap is, if anything, widening between the top 2. No suggestion yet that Postiglione has an answer to the race leader. There in 3rd place is Alberto Defalco. Danny Cruz is 4th. Axel Jeffries 5th. Jack Bartholomew 6th and dropping back. Now, they cannot afford, Bartholomew and Middleton, to be giving away points. They could be out of the championship hunt in this race if they don't hurry up and start making progress. Schandorf goes through over the timing line, leading by 1.3 seconds here over Postiglione in 2nd place. Defalco 3rd, Cruz 4th. So Danny Cruz still going well, but not as yet making the progress that he needs to. Anthony Lombo is on the back of Jake Rattenbury, who is leading his class. Raffaele Giannoni in the black car there, number 96, the 3rd of these 3, 2nd of the AMs. Jake Rattenbury goes now down to turn 4. Far section of the circuit and a bit of a wobble there, look, because really hustling on in number 30 is Anthony Lambert, but he corrects the slide. Turns now over the brow of turn 5, speed builds now. This is the long, fast run down to the curve of Dry Sack, turn 6. It's a place where you can, if you're brave, overtake, but it's also a place where if you outbrake yourself, you can be in all sorts of strife. We had contact here in the earlier American race between a couple of cars, and now speed increases up through 7 into 8, and then it's the hard brake for turn 9, the sharp right-hander of the curva, Angel Nieto. There is Anthony Lambert, then he's in 9th place overall. Now that's another pro-class car, so in fact he's actually giving away quite a chunk of time to the leaders. Lambert goes through. That's another of the cars ran out of the very, very busy Lippert Motorsport stable. Fredrik Schandorf for Target Racing has the advantage, leads the way at the moment. Comes then up towards turn 13, and this will be the end of the lap. So that will put 3 laps in the book. Over the timing line goes the race leader, and so we start lap 4, 5 minutes of the race done, and it's a 1.5 seconds that Schandorf has over Postiglione. That is the gap then that Postiglione needs to try to bring down, and a challenge is made on the inside line. Is there contact? That was Danny Cruz on Alberto Defalco. He goes through, or does he? Defalco off the road and back on again, elbows out, through he goes. Defalco does hang on to the place. Great racing between the two of them. And Danny Cruz eventually thought it better to give way there for fear of contact, fear of going off and not scoring points. So, yes, you want to be aggressive and try and score, but not get yourself in a situation where it could all go horribly wrong and you don't finish and don't score points at all. What that has done is bring Axel Jeffries, the former GP3 racer, into the mix as well. Then you've got Jack Bartholomew running in 6th place, but Jack not making the progress here. He's stuck and he's struggling. He's lost out from his grid position because he was 4th on the grid. He's 6th in the race. Then it's Josef Zaruba in 7th, Jake Rattenbury 8th, 9th is Anthony Lambert, 10th Raffaele Giannoni, Vanelay is 11th, Alcázar 12th, leading Pro-Am, Zvinger is 13th, Lewandowski 14th, Collado, Boutel, Nicolet, Lee, Freimuth and Semelin ran out the top 20. Gerard van der Horst is 21st. Put Loris Spinelli in that car. It's going to be well worth watching, that's for sure. Champion 2 years back with Michael Grenier. So there through is Axel Jeffries. Storms his way now up towards turn 13. Race leaders will come through to put now 4 laps in the book. But Fredrik Schandorf doing a really good job here, driving away from the rest of them. Vito Postiglione, perennial bridesmaid, it feels like, in this championship. Chasing, but for the moment, can't do anything about Schandorf. We went to Valencia a good few years back, and Vito Postini went there as a possible champion in 16 and got beaten by Dennis Lind. He came back at Imola and was beaten by Loris Spinelli and Michael Grenier. Last year we went to Imola, he lost out to Giacomo Altway, so he's determined to score this very long overdue title success. Lambert all over the back of Jake Rattenbury now for 8th and 9th places. They're in different classes, but it's a proper battle for position on the track, that's for sure. Remember that the leading 7, all pro, but all double driver entrants as well, so you'll have a driver change further back where you get to perhaps different pace of drivers is where you can anticipate more shuffling. But right now Rattenbury goes a little bit wide, door is open, Lambert gets up the inside of him, mistaken by Rattenbury, and so he's going to lose track position, or is he? Back on the inside line going into turn 8, and he just gets the job done, but crawling all over the back of him. Right there is Anthony Lambert, who is determined to get past him. So Lambert defending from Raffaele Giannone at the same time. Behind Giannone is the experienced Gilles Vannelet. So Vannelet trying to get in on the act as well. GT3 racer, Grand Pan Endurance racer, Clio racer. But it's a wide car. Jake Rattenbury's having to drive. He's been a Ginetta Junior star before coming across into British GT, into Carrera Cup, as well as Lamborghinis, and he gets lent on by a very determined Lambert, who rattles past him, and also Giannone goes past him, and also Vannelet goes past him. So Rattenbury, contact, forced out wide. Jake Rattenbury then loses out pretty badly. 3 places lost, and 2 of them are class positions as well. So bad news, he's gone from a class lead to 3rd in class as they come over the line now. So Lambert goes up to 8th, up to 9th will be Giannone, up to 10th Vannelet, and down to 11th, and only now 3rd in his class, Jake Rattenbury. So that's, I'm afraid, been a rather costly elbows out moment against Lambert. The damage done. Anthony Lambert goes through. Meantime, the race leading gap's going up. Fredrik Shunt is getting away. Now, the interest will be when you get Jonathan Takato into that car, who used to be co-driver to Postiglione, incidentally. Postiglione, the man that's doing the chasing. But what will be the situation in the second stint as far as the gaps are concerned? Down they come now, then into the hairpin at turn 6. You see Lambert turning his way into the right-hander. And behind, Raffaele Giannone, now that he's in the lead of the class, trying to get away. Now, here's the moment. Rattenbury was a little bit slow, maybe, through the chicane. There was a discernible gap on the inside. It was a committed move by Lambert. And yes, there was contact, but I think inevitably there was contact. The gap was certainly there. Lambert committed to the move. It's a narrow part of the circuit. Jake Rattenbury might feel he was biffed aside, but there was certainly a gap that Lambert could challenge in, and challenge he did. So Lambert through, up into 8th place. Now let's catch up with more from the pit lane, because the number 44 team, Vito Postiglione and Kiko Galbiati, are running second. Kiko Galbiati will do the second stint in the race. Marietta.
So Kiko, Vito is a bit far from the leader of the race, but the important thing is to stay ahead of the rivals for the title.
Yeah, of course. We are now second overall, and we are leading the championship now. And we hope that we will arrive in front from the car number 3, and in order to win the championship. For now, we are in a good position. I hope that I will keep the position and to stay in front.
How are you feeling with the car today? How are you feeling?
The feeling with the car is very good. The team did a great job to fix the car, and now we have to arrive in front of the car number 3.
Thank you very much and good luck.
Well, right now, plan is working, because Vito Postiglione is second and car number 3 is there in 4th place. Danny Cruz at the wheel of it. That's the leader. That's Fredrik Shunt. And we have had 11 minutes of the race. Pit window, of course, opens at the 20 to 30 minute mark. So you have that 10-minute window. And we're not that far off it now as the cars accelerate up towards the chicane centre, which replaces the curve at Alex Criville for car racing. The bikes do the corner, but the cars don't. They head here into the chicane. So Fredrik Shunt is doing a really good job. We've not seen him in Super Trofeo Europe this year, and right now he's hit the front, and Vito Postiglione is not being able to bring the gap down significantly. He was a fraction faster last time, but he's not significantly quicker, and therefore can't get onto the tail of the man that's done the fastest lap of the race, Fredrik Shunt. Over the timing line they go. 1.4 seconds is the margin that we have between the top two, which means it has come down again on that last lap just a little. So is this Postiglione now being able to mount an attack later in the stint? Everything comfortable with the car? It's starting to come alive for him. He's pushing. Now he comes into turn 4, quick part of the circuit, way up the curb on the outside. That shows you the amount of effort being put in by Vito Postiglione, whose career spans most things, touring car or GT. He's a very, very experienced racer and has tried so hard for so long to win this championship. Number 9 Alberto Defalco turns through, third place, lost one spot from the grid, remember, to the quick starting Postiglione, but now dropping away, losing ground in the sectors. Through he turns. This is turn 8. And the curve at Aspa brings them up the short straight now to the Angel Ancanieto curve. You can treat that really as one arced right-hander into turn 10, and then the short straight down to the chicane. There, in 4th place, is Danny Cruz. Now, he's 5 seconds off the lead, nearly 3 seconds off Postiglione. So Afanasieff versus Galbiati is what we need to be looking for the second stint, effectively, to see what relative pace you can expect from those drivers, because really 44, come what may, has got to be ahead and stay ahead of number 3, no question. So the leaders go by. The lead gap is down from 1.4 to 1 second. That was a really good lap by Postiglione. Found 0.4 of a second. That's sizable. There he is in the green car in the background. So Vito Postiglione in this Imperiale Racing entry is getting closer to the target car. The target in question is the leader, there it is, of Fredrik Schandorf. Lower down the order, the classes are still battling. 99 is Robert Zwinger, who is 4th in the AM category. And he's got the Imperiale Racing car of Andrzej Lewandowski behind him. Lewandowski sharing with the Pole Carole Bosch, who was sharing with Postiglione last year. Lewandowski goes nicely back into the championship. I've not seen a huge amount of him this year, but Lewandowski has been racing in the International GT Open Championship. Has stepped up from Lamborghinis, but comes back every year for a crack at the World Final. So through they turn. Now, as the leaders battle lap 9, let's hear from Jonathan Takato, Fredrik Schandorf's co-driver. They're in the lead of the race, and Marietta in the pit lane has found him.
Jonathan, I'm sure you're delighted to see the car leading the race, but when you jump in the car for the second stint, do you think you can hold that pace?
Yes, for sure. That's a plan. It's always nice to see our car in front of everybody. The goal is to continue like this and to win the race, to win today's race, to win this afternoon's race, and most important, the World Final, Saturday and Sunday.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Yeah, the point Jonathan Takato makes, they're not part of the regulars in the championship, but this is a very good test exercise for the World Final. Of course, the danger is they're taking points away from those that are regulars in the European Series. And so as they come now up to the midpoint of this, the 10th lap of the race, nervous times for those losing out to the very quick interloping car. 79, 77 you're looking at. Jose Collado further back with the Jack Butel entry behind him, but Fredrik Schandorf there is up front, and Postiglione 9/10 back is certainly hustling on. He is getting closer all the time now. That leading gap is coming down, and this is possibly Postiglione having a real push before we get to the pit stops. Drivers get ready. That's Jonathan Takato, who is one of the 2 sons of Johnny Takato. Remember, there's Johnny Jr. and Jonathan. Jonathan Takato, the younger of the 2, and Johnny Senior, motorbike world champion, turned Grand Prix racer, turned touring car racer. And Senna's teammate at Tolman until he had his nasty accident at Brands Hatch in 1984 with Takato dad. Right, there is Vito Postiglione. Cars now accelerate up through the hairpin over the timing line in a moment. Replay of the start. Have a look at Postini. He was really on his toes here because knew he needed to get ahead of as many as he could off the start. And as soon as the lights blinked green, he made that challenge, found the gap there on the inside, got a little bit hemmed in by Shunt, but still squeezed across. Switching sides, Defalco. Postini tried to brave it out on the outside line, but then he had to start to cover off second place. So second he secured, moved to the inside line at turn 2, but Fredrik Shunt had done enough to keep Vito Postini at bay. And don't forget, Postini is perhaps the most experienced driver of these cars within the pro class on the grid. He's done so many miles in them. Runs out wide, coming from turn 5, the Curvacito Ponce, and the pit window is open any moment. We've got about 2 minutes before the window opens, so the drivers have got 2 laps before they can start to plan pit stops. The teams will potentially get the slower driver in early, put the quick guy in, but where you've got a pro split, they're very evenly matched drivers. Let's see, it might be traffic dependent when you do that stop and to cover off a pit stop from your rivals. Right now, Alberto Defalco in the car shared with Davidi Venditti, the former F4 racer, hustles on. He's up now towards turn 10. Riding with him. Limited undulation around this circuit, pretty flat in this sherry-producing region of southern Spain, but as he comes out of the chicane, over the curb, turns right, back onto the power now, into turn 12, the curve of Ferrari, speed builds all the time. Up to the timing line he comes, but the lead gap was 0.8 of a second. The lead gap is up again to 0.11. That's a slower lap by Postini. So Fredrik Shunt ups his pace slightly, but it was more Postini losing than it was Shunt going quicker. So the race leaders then make the run out now of turn 4. And there you see Alberto Defalco absolutely on the limit. I mean, they are all hustling on. It may not look as though the effort is being put in because the gaps aren't coming down significantly, but they are absolutely on the limit here. You see the way the cars just now, at the end of this first stint, start to slide around a little bit more. They're getting lighter on fuel. Tyres, of course, well up to temperature, and it's only really the pressures that will be adjusted at the pit stops unless you have a drama with a puncture. We had one of those in the USA and Asia race. There's nothing else to do in the pit stops other than just sit and bide your time and make sure that you do not get the pit stop time wrong. There is Defalco. Meantime, it's busier back in the pack here. Good scraps rage on. Number 12 is the car of Shota Abkazem, Robert Svinger, and then Andrzej Lewandowski are behind. Through they come, up towards turn 6, underneath the Andalucia gantry, hard on the brakes, turn right. The pit window is now open. So let's see at the end of this lap if there's anybody coming in. Yes, there is. Straight away, Gerard van der Horst comes in to give way to the very, very quick Loris Spinelli. That'll be an intriguing one. You're looking at the number 12, Shota Abkazem, a Pro-Am leader, but Loris Spinelli about to take over and go into the race. And Spinelli, a former outright champion, he'll be one to watch. There is the van der Horst car. Gerard van der Horst gets out. The property developer and race team owner walks away. But Loris Spinelli gets behind the wheel. That car has to be 1 minute and 24, pit in to pit out. We've also got Jack Bartholomew coming in to give way to Stuart Middleton. Now that car's lost a lot of time early on, so Stuart's going to have to be on his toes here. He needs a safety car to get him back in the game, really. Out gets Jack Bartholomew. In gets Stuart Middleton, and the Bonaldi team cycles through the pit stop. So more and more are coming in, including Andrzej Lewandowski to give way to Carole Bosch. And right now, Shunt and Postini covered by 0.8 of a second in the first sector. It's up to 1.2 in the third. So the gaps are widening across the lap. There is Postini. Now when does he pit? The window is open. We've also had into the pit road Shota Abkazem to give way to former Formula 3 Euro Series gun and FIA F2 racer Harold Schlegelmilch. But that's the overall race leader. Fredrik Shunt then down through the centre chicane. Back marker ahead to the eye. Postini looks nearer as well. So we're not done yet as far as this lead battle is concerned. And of course it can go into the second stint with different drivers. Do they pit? No and no. And what about third, Defalco? No. So they're up on the inside of the slower car, getting ahead of the Michelet Motorsport entry. Over the timing line goes Fredrik Schandorf, and he was 8/10ths up. He's 7/10ths up now. Postiglione, who is staying with him in third place. Alberto Defalco, a further 1.2 seconds back. So the leaders go through, currently now working lap 14. We've got 27 minutes of the race still to go, and the pit lane is getting busier as more and more cars cycle through. Now, number 32 is the Jack Bartholomew Stuart Middleton car. Jack Bartholomew has just got out of it. Stuart Middleton is behind the wheel, and that means that Jack is now free to talk to Marietta.
Jack, perhaps not quite the start you wanted, but still anything can happen.
Yeah, for sure. Being in fifth isn't ideal, but starting on the outside on row 2, we were always going to, it was likely we were going to lose places at the start. The pace was okay. Maybe we were missing a couple of attempts to the guys in front, but we'll see. Now we've done the driver change, see what Stuart can find, see if we can just get into a rhythm and hopefully pass some people.
Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you.
So Jack Bartholomew down in fifth at the pit stop, fourth on the grid, so makes the point he was on the outside line, but it was that good start by Vito Postiglione that didn't really help, putting him offline for the first couple of corners. Now, there you've got Fredrik Schandorf. Is he going to come in this time? Let's see. There's the race leader. Avoids pit in. So does Postiglione. So Vito is effectively shadowing and covering what the leader is doing. Alberto Defalco is more experienced and quicker than Davidi Venditti, so makes sense for him to stay out for as long as possible as well. That's Jonathan Takato ready to take over from Fredrik Schandorf. He's been stood with his crash helmet on for a long, long time, but as yet, not getting into the car. Others are cycling through their stops, but right now Schandorf leading by 1 second over Vito Postiglione. 25 minutes of the race still to run. And there through is the leading car. Out of turn 4, back markers ahead. Now that could be another element now just to throw into the mix for the race leader. Is it worth coming in and serving the pit stop rather than catching traffic, rather than losing a 10.42 in the slower cars? There is 22 that's come in for Kurt Wagner now to give over to Libor Dvoracek. It's one of the two Michelet Motorsport cars. The other one is Josef Zaruba and Jakob Noll's car, which is still Josef Zaruba at the wheel. So the pit window is open as their 31 Fredrik Schandorf goes through, and number 30's pit stop is under investigation. So Anthony Lambert was given away to Niels Lagrange, but number 30 being looked at. Could be a penalty coming then, we'll see. If you get it wrong, pit in to pit out times, then I'm afraid there's not really anywhere to hide, because all the data is given to the race director, who gives it to the stewards, and a call is made. So Schandorf and Postiglione lead, and they stay out for another lap. We've got 5.5 minutes of the, sorry, 4.5 minutes of the window, but as they come up now towards the timing line, Schandorf still has the advantage in the race. There is the pit lane getting busier and busier as others come in, including Gilles Vanelay, Jack Boutel, Oliver Freimuth, Pachai Wirabor, Wampong there in the highlighter pen. There it is, the bright orange car comes down the pit road. And the team wave him to the right place. So the MTech squad checks the tyre pressures. That's Oliver Freimuth, the German driver who's come in for many, many years. He was a mainstay of European Renault Championships until he discovered the delights of Lamborghini racing. Down the pit road go others. And now the race lead battle has really come alive. Defalco goes wide and off the road. They've been held up in traffic by the look of it. And so now you've got Postiglione right on the back of Schandorf as they come down towards turn 6. Defalco losing a little bit of downforce and losing momentum. Going out wide at turn 5 has dropped back a length. But Postiglione now much, much closer to the race leader as they come up now through turns 8 and then 9. So Schandorf has the advantage, but he is being caught at the very end of his stint, not when he needs it. It's going to put the pressure on Takato in the second stint of the race, no question about that. Raffaele Giannoni, incidentally, is in the pit lane out of the AM battle, but right now, all eyes here on Defalco, closing back up onto the tail of Postiglione, so the 3 leaders covered by 2 seconds at the start of the lap, but 7/10 in the last section. It really has concertinaed. Does this see Shunt come to the pit lane? No, nor Postiglione, and Defalco thought about it, but he stays out as well. So each of the top 3 covering off the other. Out of the hairpin, up towards the timing line once more. Shunt goes through. It was 8/10 up last time. Postiglione this time is 6/10 back. So certainly the Italian driver giving energetic chase to the Dane. The fastest lap of the race now done by Loris Spinelli, having taken over from Gerard van der Horst. And that's the replay again of what happened to Defalco, right up behind the leaders, but just ran too wide at 5, got it slightly wrong. Now more of the teams getting ready with the inboards, I can see, ready for the next round of stops. So we haven't got that many that have not yet pitted, actually. Shunt, Postiglione, Defalco, and Danny Cruz still there in 4th place. You've hardly mentioned Danny, but he is 4th and a bit lonely in 4th. He might, Marietta, have a bit of explaining to do at the end of his stint, Danny Cruz, as to finding out just where the time has gone. Is he thinking about banking points, or have they genuinely struggled for pure pace? 33 is in, Jake Rattenbury to give way now to Mikko Eskelinen. Remember, they led the AM competition earlier on in the race. So the battle goes on for race leaders. Here they come once again. Up now towards the right-hander into the chicane, and Fredrik Shunt being given a bit of breathing space now with Postiglione under very, very big attack by Alberto Defalco. Through they turn, and into the pits, and into the pits, the top 3. We're nearly at the end of the window, 47 seconds to go, and so now they've got to come in. Raffaele Giannoni is being looked at for his pit stop time as well, so it's crucial not to make a mistake here for any of the leaders. We should have Danny Cruz in as well from 4th place. Yes, we do. So there is the leading car. That is Shunt to give way to Takato. Postiglione heads down the pit lane to give way to Galbiati. 9 is in. Defalco for Venditti. Cruz for Afanasieff comes in as well. And also in is Axel Jeffries to hand over to Vincent Schwartz. So lots of shuffling now within the leading quintet is possible with a different driver on board. So there is the championship leading car, Cruz and Afanasieff. The pit window is now closed, so if you've not come in, you're in strife. So the teams count down. When they are happy, the car can be released. And there, the calm before the storm in the pit lane. Everybody sitting, everybody waiting, everybody ready to be released. And then the second stint will be underway. Fresh drivers. Away goes Shunt, away goes Defalco. And away now goes Galbiati, who is about to lose out to Davidi Venditti, because look, they're side by side down the pit lane and Venditti goes ahead. So now Kiko Galbiati has lost track position in the pits. Now, does that mean they were slow, or does it mean that the number 9 entry of Davidi Venditti was under on the pit stop time? We'll need to see whether there's an alert about the stop time for car number 9, but either way, that's bad news for 44. Galbiati and Postiglione have lost a place in the pits. So we'll wait and see whether that was a good stop for number 9 or was too short, but either way they've gained a place over the green Imperiale Racing entry on those pit stops. Race leaders then currently work lap number 18, and Fredrik Shunt has given the car over now to co-driver Jonathan Cecotto. Behind is Davidi Venditti, and then Kiko Galbiati there in 3rd place. There's a rather concerned looking Jack Bartholomew to see where Stuart Middleton is in relation to all of this, but the fear is they lost too much time in the first stint, so it's gone against them. We'll check, but may not look good. We'll find out in due course. There through is 26. That is a bit further down the order. The car of now Benoit Semola. And 31 leads the way. Fredrik Shunt has given the car over. We can hear from the man that dominated the first stint with Marietta.
No wonder you are exhausted. What a very strong start of the race. Was it difficult to keep the pace and stay focused?
Yeah, it's always difficult to be the leader because you don't need to do mistakes and you don't have any reference in front of you. So, but anyway, the race ended like we want. But unfortunately, some of the guys we catch with a lap, it was slowing me a bit down. But anyway, still keeping the lead. And now I hope Jonathan can keep the lead as well, and hopefully we win the race.
Thank you very much.
And drama's there for Oliver Freimuth. He's got it wrong at the chicane. He's at the escape road as he tries to turn around. But Oliver Freimuth, who's made his pit stop, has had a moment at the chicane. Now, whether he fell or was pushed, we'll have to find out. But either way, he was going the wrong way, and he's back onto the circuit now as the AGS events car goes past him. But Oliver Freimuth in the AKF Motorsport entry, back on track but delayed. That's Raffaele Giannoni. And there's another one being looked at for its pit stop, and it is number 9. So, Davidi Venditti and Alberto Defalco are under investigation for the pit stop. Remember I said it might have been short, which is how they gained the place. It's being looked at. So number 9 is second at the moment, but it might be having a penalty. Let's see. We've got more and more cars under investigation because now 33 is being looked at as well. The Eskelinen and Rattenbury car. Chaz Clallan, who operates that, is going to have to go and buy a new stopwatch if they're under on the pit stop time. Oh dear. But it's one of 4 cars that now being looked at. So Takato leads from Davidi Venditti, and then Kiko Galbiati in 3rd place. But right now Jonathan Takato has got a really good lead. If there's a penalty going the way of number 9, that helps Postiglione a little bit because it brings Galbiati up to 2nd. They're staying ahead of Afanasiev, who is there in 4th place. So Afanasiev is through 4th. Stuart Middleton is 5th. Now he's 9.5 seconds back. He needs a safety car, as I say. So through goes the race leader. And let's hear from Danny Cruz then, because they're down in 4th place behind championship rivals at the end of that first stint. Marietta.
Danny, looks like you were struggling to catch up with the front runners. What happened?
I made some contact with the Defalco. I was next to him and we touched each other, so the steering wheel was not straight anymore. So we had a little bit of understeer, but at the beginning the speed was good, so that's very unfortunate. But for now it still looks good. We hope for the best.
Thank you very much.
So there you go, that's the explanation that it was damaged steering. Right, now the penalties are coming. Number 30 will get 1.6 seconds at the end of the race as a time penalty. If you are within a second short, you get 3 times the amount you were short by. So if you were under by 2/10, you get 3 times your 2/10 to make up the penalty. Number 96 gets 2.5 seconds, 2.538 to be precise. So that's Raffaele Giannoni being given a 2.5 second penalty. The others we are still awaiting news on are Defalco Venditti's car and also the Rattenbury Eskelinen entry. Keeping an eye to the timing screen, which is displaying all these messages for the teams. There is 44, then that's Galbiati hustling on behind Davidi Venditti. And then Afanasiev is not that far behind either. So at the moment, Venditti is the cork in the bottle, holding up Kiko Galbiati, who arrived really in Lamborghini racing at the World Finals at Valencia a few years back and was instantly a star. Came in and was oh so quick. Over the timing line there goes then Davidi Venditti. Galbiati looks to the inside line. Up the hill they climb into the right-hander. No way through there, so this is good news for Takato as the race leader, getting away all the time. Second, third, 4th with 13 3/4 minutes to go. As one they turn. Now the field drops down the hill once again. Swooping through turn 4 and 5. And does Afanasiev try to make a move against Galbiati, or does he wait for Galbiati to make the move against Venditti and then follow him through? Well, right now, looks like Galbiati is struggling. It's not an easy place to overtake around here, just the nature of the circuit. And so as you see Superchai Weeraboorwampong going through there, currently in 21st place. Defalco watches from the pit lane, seeing Venditti fend off Galbiati and Afanasiev. Number 9, 2.5 second penalty at the end of the race as well. So Davidi Venditti gets 2.556 seconds of a penalty. Riding on board here with car number 30. This is Niels Lagrange now, 1.6 seconds of a penalty. And Jake Rattenbury, Mikko Eskellinen's car gets 0.108 at the end of the race. So that was under by thousands, I think, rather than anything else. If he's only got a 1/10 of a second penalty, it must have been thousands it was under by. So there, coming out of the corner, challenge is made. That's up towards turn 7. Looking there at the car of Josef Zaruba, keeping at bay Carole Bosch. So 66, currently running in 7th place. That was the car that was started by Josef Zaruba. It's Jakob Noll at the wheel of it now, and Carole Bosch crawling all over the back of him. Up the inside, job done. Carole Bosch should go through, does go through, and Niels Lagrange tries to find a way through as well as they come down towards the chicane now. Up the inside line, easily through. Jakob Noll has not looked that rapid, I'm afraid, this year in this car. Josef Zaruba is the quicker of the two by far, and Jakob Noll losing 2 places on that lap. And look, I mean, he lost the places and straight away loses time as well. Doesn't stay on the back of them. They just charge past him and disappear up the road. Off the road is 51 in the gravel trap. That is Fidel Leib, regular in the VLN and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Fidel Leib off the road. And by the look of it, he's gone quite a long way off the road there. So Leib is out. And I just wonder whether or not that car can stay in the gravel or whether it needs a safety car intervention, which might help some of the teams. 11 minutes are still on the clock here. Let's try and work out how we got there. It's at the end of the back straight. Big spin under braking. Off he goes. He's a long way off the road, but if the danger, of course, is anybody else goes off there, they could strike the car. So the snatch vehicle will come out, try and get that out of the way without the race being interrupted. Through goes car number 9, Alberto Defalco's car. Davidi Venditti at the wheel of it. And remember, that's got this time penalty of 2.5 seconds. So it loses out to both Galbiati and Afanasiev at the moment. Davidi Venditti hard at work. He's being told as well by the officials to move the transponder selector because it's still showing his co-driver's name, but the trouble is he's a bit busy. So that's the last thing on his mind as he goes up towards turn 1. Kiko Galbiati turns through in 3rd place, 4th Afanasiev. Now look at Stuart Middleton in the background. Middleton is hustling on, he's closing up. So Stuart Middleton here might be able to gain places on the road. He might even be within the 2.5 seconds come the end, which would give him another place relative to the Venditti Defalco penalty. There is number 9 then, penalised car. 10 minutes of the race still to go. Out of turn 5 they run. This is the fast section, down now towards the hairpin at 6, hard on the brakes. Yellow flags though, of course, because of that car in the gravel, so no overtaking. A waved yellow also means, of course, you're meant to slow down and be prepared to stop. Well, the drivers, in some cases, slowing down more than others. You saw Galbiati, for example, closing up under braking. Stuart Middleton goes through there, runner-up in Ginetta Juniors, back in 16, British GT Class GT4 champion with Will Tregurtha. Last year, race winner in the GT4 European Series for HHC Motorsport, so a very accomplished driver is Stuart Middleton. But right now, Kiko Galbiati is all over the back of Davidi Venditti. He'll inherit that place, but the trouble is that he's stuck, and it means now that Afanasiev and Middleton are right there behind him. See the way that Stuart Middleton, he's really bringing that car back into the mix here. That would help Galbiati and Postiglione if Middleton could gain some points away from car number 3, wouldn't it? Up towards the timing line they come, over the line now. So through they go, and up the inside line looks Galbiati, can't find a way through there. Venditti fends him off as they go out of turn 1. In 4th place is Afanasiev, and now to the inside line looks Galbiati once more. There's more and more and more energy being put into this. There's a sideways Venditti ahead of him. And Afanasiev is having to think about defending now from Stuart Middleton. That in turn might just give Galbiati a chance at more of a challenge here as they come now up towards the right-hander of turn 5. Now normally you'd suggest that this next section down to the hairpin is a place where you can overtake, but not on this lap because the yellow flags are still there. Afanasiev keeps at bay Middleton, 4th and 5th they run. There's the yellow flag being waved. So everybody has to hold station, turn into the corner now. There's the snatch vehicle doing the work, getting the car out of harm's way. Through they turn. Galbiati looks the quicker, doesn't he, out of those two that you've got at the head of the battle pack, but he just can't find a way through. He needs Venditti to make a tiny, tiny error, and then he might be able to pounce, but it's not for coming, is it? Very wide over the curb there goes Kiko Galbiati. He's picking up the pace once more, trying to fend off the challenge from behind. So right there behind him is Afanasiev. Middleton is fifth. He's another one that wants to be on his toes here. 10 seconds covering the top 5, but Takato is ahead by 8 seconds. So he's just disappeared into the distance now. Right here is the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th train of cars, but Venditti is the cork in the bottle. If they could get past him, they might be able to bring the lead gap down, but right now he's resolutely hanging on to his place, Venditti. 7 minutes now to run. Through turn 1 they go. More drama, and that is 99 Robert Zvinger's car. Punctured tyre, possibly tyres actually. I think certainly the left rear, looking at the right rear corner, that's just got a bit of bodywork damage on it. But that car is stranded, and it's on the edge of the road as well. First of all, how did it get there? Secondly, can it be moved? Let's have a look. Tyre just lets go. And then into the barrier. Yes, oh, sizable hit. So Robert Zvinger's car does suffer damage on the right rear as well as the left. So he has got 2 punctures. And I think that could end up being a safety car period because it's right on the edge of the road. Down at turn 6, where they'd only just cleared the incident, of course. So 6 minutes to go. Oh, this is a tough one for the race director because it might take more than 6 minutes to get everything out of the way, but can you afford to leave that car stranded on the edge of the circuit like that? There's the leader, that's Takato. Well clearing the lead of the race. Down to the chicane he comes, through the right, through the left. So Jonathan Takato returning to Lamborghini Racing. He was 3rd in Pro-Am in North America last year, 3rd in Pro in Europe the year before when he shared with Vito Postiglione. Safety car is being deployed. We've got the safety car. Safety car on track. So with 5.5 minutes to go, that's the reason safety car is deployed. Robert Zvinger is still in the car, I think, because it was a sizable impact. He's probably a bit shaken. But the tyre letting go as he braked for the corner and firing him across the circuit. So the recovery crew there, but Robert Zvinger is a little shaken by the impact, plural. So what does this do to the race? Can the race get going again before the end of 5.5 minutes? You'd hope it wouldn't take long to get the car out of the way, but Robert Zvinger understandably rather shaken. So we're down to 4 3/4 minutes. It might even end under the safety car, this. Let's see. Looking back from the safety car. And Robert Zvinger's car damaged. Snatch vehicle arrives. And as soon as the marshals are happy and the race director is content, then hopefully we can get back underway, but everybody has to follow the safety car. No overtaking, of course, while the safety car is on track here. So through they turn. Race leader Jonathan Takato's gap has disappeared. Here's the replay again. The tyre just lets go, throws Robert Zvinger across the road, hard into the barriers. So damage on the front, damage on the rear, spins across the road. Fortunately, nobody else around him to get caught up in that, but it was a big, big hit. No question about that. There is the car being poked out of the way. So he's okay, I hope. Yes, there he is, sat behind the barrier, but understandably Robert Zvinger a little bit shaken because that was, for sure, a hard hit. Looking back from the safety car, Robert Zvinger, who's come from the Creventic endurance races. 3 minutes are on the clock still as the safety car turns through, and a safety car lap is 2.5 minutes. We're not going to get much time in at the end, that's for sure, I'm afraid. So they come now over the line, down through turn 1. 1 or 2 still playing catch-up towards the back of the pack, but 2.5 minutes. There's the car out of the way. We could go racing at the end of this lap, because that's at turn 6, that's turn 4, so the circuit should be clear almost by the time they get there. Daniele Galbiati, who is the race director, will be looking at all of his closed circuit TV shots, looking at all of the television picture camera angles as well to see that the road is clear, and if he is happy, the call will be made to release the pack in at the end of this lap. So we will get one more racing lap in. Takato, Venditti, Galbiati, Afanasiev and Middleton, the top 5 will all bunch up. Now let's quickly hear from Alberto Defalco with Marietta before we go racing.
I'm very happy with how the race is going, but I'm sure it's not being easy to hold the second position.
Yeah, it's very hard also because now I'm happy, but not a lot, because we have a penalty for the pit stop. So now with the safety car, it's not easy for us to finish on the podium. Maybe we finish 4th, we will see. But I'm quite happy of my team that I bring the car in P2 overall, so I'm quite happy and hope to make a very good race later, race 2.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Marietta. Yeah, that penalty, 2.5 seconds for being slightly under on the pit stop time. So there is 31. That's the leading car, Jonathan Takato. Welcome back to Super Trofeo Europe, and potentially it's going to be welcome back with a race, a win. The clock has a minute and change, as you see, but we'll get one more racing lap in. And here is the battle for race honours. Ignore that car, though. That's the spoiler in the pack. It's a lap down, 79. So that car of Jose Collado is exactly what is required by Takato. He's got a cushion, and it's really for 2nd, 3rd and 4th and 5th where the battle will be. Again, Takato's on target for the win, and Davidi Venditti, look, has almost dozed off. He's even further away from the race leader, so that's a very poor restart by Venditti. He's nowhere near the cars ahead of him, and that compromises the efforts of others behind him. So a really bad restart by Davidi Venditti. Over the line goes Takato to get the race back underway. Venditti goes through, and more back markers getting in the way, which spoils the start for Galbiati at the inside line there. Middleton goes through, and also Afanasiev gets ahead of Galbiati. On the restart, the championship leaders gain a place, 2 places gained by Stuart Middleton, and Kiko Galbiati, I think, got stuck behind number 21 as they came up towards the timing line of Gregor Machulski, the orange and grey car there, but that had gone badly wrong. 4:44, so Kiko Galbiati has lost places on that restart. Way off the road goes another one. That is Afanasiev, who's back on track, but he's in big strife, and he's lost ground, so that gives places back to Galbiati. So Sergio Afanasiev off the road and back on again, but it's a chaotic restart with the back markers being slow, the leading drivers not being able to overtake until they got to the line. There's more drama down at turn 6 as that there you saw under attack Gregor Machulski in the grey and orange car. He's still coming under attack as they wriggle through turn 8 now. So sort all this out at the end of the lap. The one constant is that Takato leads the way, and all of a sudden, look there, number 9, Davidi Venditti looks like he's going to be able to gain some places back because of all the dramas behind him. Stuart Middleton, though, is up into 3rd place after a pretty unpromising 5th early on. So Middleton for the podium, thanks in part to the safety car. And there is drama because that's Mikko Eskelinen off the road on the last lap of the race, spectacularly off the road, suggesting that might have had a failure. Checkered flag at the ready then, absolute mayhem on the last lap of the race. After the restart, Jonathan Takato, Fredrik Shunt, a very well-deserved win. Checkered flag is waved. 31 it is that takes the race victory then. Takato and Shunt are the winners, but who is going to be second? Because over the line, first of all, goes Defalco and Venditti, but you put the penalty on, and that's going to drop them, I would have thought, to 3rd place behind Middleton and Bartholomew. We have Galbiati and Postiglione taking 4th, and then 5th is Bosch and Lewandowski, 6th Afanasiev and Cruz, which will be 5th in class. Now there is Mikko Eskelinen, who is trying to wriggle clear of the car after a sizable off right at the very end. I wonder what caused that. We'll try and piece it all together. Classes Pro-Am won by Bosch and Lewandowski from Abkhazova and Schlegelmilch. Although that seems to have said Shota Abkhazova all the way through. Need to check that. and then Loris Spinelli and Gerard van der Horst taking third in Pro-Am. In the AMs, Nicola Gomar, Gilles Vanderlei, the class winners from Raffaele Giannoni, and then it would have been Eskelinen and Rattenbury, but they didn't get to the end, so Oliver Freiburg, I would have thought, therefore inherits the place. Lamborghini Cup, Jose Collado ahead of the Semolans, ahead of Superchai Weeraboorwampong. So there is number 79, that is Jose Collado, who is the Lamborghini Cup winner within the race, and that's quite good news for him as far as the championship is concerned, because he will therefore close by, 3 points against the Semolans. Admittedly, he's 11 back, so he brings the gap down, but he's still got more work to do in the next race. Takato and Schandorf not thinking about the championship, but it's been a very, very good drive by both of them. And we need to have another look at bits of the last lap. First of all, there was a Afanasieff going off the road. There was Galbiati's Pox restart, getting mugged. Stuart Middleton was on his toes. Now, assuming that there are no jump start, restart penalties throwing around, then the order is confirmed as Takato, Schandorf, the winners from Middleton and Bartholomew, and then third with their pit stop penalty, Defalco and Venditti. Galbiati taking fourth with Postiglione, and then for fifth and sixth places, Bosch, Lewandowski ahead of Afanasieff and Cruz. So the drivers now make their way down the pit road. And there is a very, very happy Fredrik Schandorf. Steps across to congratulate Jonathan Takato at the end of an excellent drive by both of them. So Jonathan Takato back into the series and back with style there. Takes the win. And let's try and have a word with him and Fredrik Schandorf. There's Marietta marshalling everybody into place. So Jonathan she's got. Come here, Fredrik. And the race winners in the end by a slightly inflated margin of 6.5 seconds. So well done, Fredrik Schandorf. Well done, Jonathan Takato. They are with Marietta.
Guys, from pole to victory, what an amazing performance.
Yeah, it was very good. We both did amazing job, and especially Jonathan, he keep it where we were, so it was perfect. And the weekend has been amazing so far, so we hopefully can continue this, and what we want is the world final, so that's what we aim for.
8 seconds gap. You made it really difficult for the race to catch up with you for the rest.
Yeah, we were fast, but we cannot sing too much victory because there's still plenty of work, so it was a good race. It was perfect, and we continue being focused.
Looks like not having the pressure of fighting for the title today paid off for you guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so. I mean, the goal is always to win, no matter if you aim for the championship or not. Win is all that matters.
Next, the world finals?
For sure, for sure.
We do that, yeah.
Thank you very much.
So confident for the rest of the weekend, and the drivers will make their way up to the podium. With the classes also, of course, to be brought up there before the end of the ceremony. Pro-Am, and Lamborghini Cup. Now, what about Davidi Venditti then? Down in third because of that penalty. Let's hear from our third place drivers with Marietta.
Third at the end, but a podium finish nevertheless.
Yeah, I'm very happy also because I was not sure for the penalty on the pit lane and also in the safety car restart. So my mate made a very good job. I'm so happy about the job of him and all the team. The car was good. We have to improve a little bit on the new tires, and then we can fight for the victory.
You're smiling much more now than when we spoke before.
Yes, a lot, yes. It's normal. I go in the podium. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that is Alberto Defalco, who wasn't sure he was going to the podium a little while ago, but he is, and he's there for third place. Stuart Middleton and Jack Bartholomew taking second. Good effort by them, as the likes of Gilles Vanderlei and Nicola Gomar discussed their race. Jose Collado's there as well. So Stuart Middleton and Jack Bartholomew second because of the time penalty applied to Venditti and Defalco, but certainly getting a far, far better result out of that than you might have anticipated in the first stint. It came together pretty well. So drivers will shortly, when they finish with the teams, be available. And hopefully Robert Svinger's car is going to be okay for race 2. Quite a lot of damage to that. Hopefully Robert himself will want to do race 2. But as we were saying, it's certainly a big impact. That's Harold Schlegelmilch just putting his helmet in the car. So let's look at the results then of the first European Championship race of the weekend. A win for Jonathan Takato and Fredrik Shunt ahead of Stuart Middleton and Jack Bartholomew, the 2 British drivers ahead of the 2 Italians, Davidi Venditti and Alberto Defalco, because of their time penalty. 4th, Vito Postini and Kiko Galbiati, although contact between them and the Cruz Afanasieff car is under investigation. 5th, Carole Bosch and Andrzej Lewandowski, ahead of Cruz and Afanasieff, then Axel Jeffries and Vincent Svart. 7th from Harold Schlegelmilch and Shota Abkazova. 9th to the French combination of Gilles Vanellet and Nico Goma, and then 10th, Loris Spinelli and Gerard van der Horst. Spinelli doing the fastest lap of the race. Raffaele Giannoni coming through for 13th, and of course classified 15th, but never getting to the end. Mikko Eskelinen and Jake Rattenbury. So we'll wait and see what that does for the podium. That car going off on the very last lap of the race. Right, let's hear from the Brits. Jack Bartholomew, Stuart Middleton second, there with Marietta.
So it's not how you started, it's where you finished.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the start wasn't great. Tried to stay consistent, look after the tyres. The safety car really helped us in a couple of penalties along the way. Stuart did a great move and we ended up second, so really good for us.
And how are you feeling for this afternoon?
Yeah, we'll have a look at some data, see if we can find anything and go again, try and go for the podium again.
Thank you very much, congratulations.
Jack Bartholomew, half of that British combination in the Vinaldi car. He's been a Lamborghini regular, if you like, over the last couple of seasons, both in Asia, the Middle East, as well as now Europe, whereas Stuart Middleton has come into Lamborghini racing fresh this year, but adapting very, very well. Loris Spinelli, fastest lap of the race, and he'll be on the front of the grid for the second race later on in the day. So the drivers into the podium area, but that is confirmation of the winning car, 31. Of Jonathan Takato that did the second stint, and a very impressive start for Fredrik Shunt. So I think the podium is just about ready. Drivers coming from the cool-down room forward onto the podium. And there, the winning car from Target Racing SRL for the pro combination of Fredrik Shunt and Jonathan Takato. So the cars into park fairway conditions, and the overall top 3, which is also the pro top 3, about to step forward then, as out they will come. Thirds on that corrected time, Davidi Venditti and Alberto Defalco step forward. Then from the Target Racing team, a 1-3 for Target. There is Davidi Venditti, nearest to us in the natty green boots, Alberto Defalco. Then for second place, Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton step forward. Second place overall, second in pro. And then for the class winners, the overall race winners, Jonathan Takato and Fredrik Shunt, interlopers in a sense for Target Racing, but a really impressive drive by the pair, putting them as race winners here at Jerez. Complimenti Target Racing, the winning team. represented by Jonathan Takato and Fredrik Shunt, Jonathan Venezuelan, nationality of his father, and Fredrik Shunt, the Danish driver. And now the trophies are presented to the winning teams. And so at the end of an excellent race, full of drama, Federica Teneggi, the Super Trofeo European and Middle East Series coordinator, gives the trophies. Jonathan Takato and Fredrik Shunt receive their award. And well done to our race winners in this first event of the weekend for the European cars. And it was a failure for number 33, brake failure it was, that put Eskelinen off on the last lap. So spectacular stuff. So they're the drivers with the trophies, and now are they going to spray champagne or save that for later on? There's going to be some spraying, certainly from Fredrik Shunt, who wants the moment for a first victory, and celebrations underway then. So that's the scene on the podium. Just to confirm then, we saw Mikko Eskelinen off on the last lap. The word from the team is it was a brake failure, and he's okay. He reported okay on the radio. So that's the news from the team. Thank you to Chief Data Engineer Chaz Cleland, who's been operating that car again all season and making sure that drivers are okay and we know what's going on. So we hope that car's going to be on the grid for later on. But Jonathan Takato and Fredrik Shunt taking a really well-deserved win. Excellent stuff from them, and let's see what can be done later on in the day. Now, from Pro to Pro-Am next, where the drivers are getting ready. And third, Loris Spinelli and Gerard van der Horst. First time Gerard van der Horst has been in Pro-Am. Normally he's in the Lamborghini Cup, but stepping up for the purposes of this weekend with Loris Spinelli, partly I suspect for the World Final as much as anything. There is Gerard van der Horst in the background, Loris Spinelli nearest us. Then for second place, it will be Shota Abkazova, now the champion, and Harold Schlegelmilch. And then the class winners, Carole Bosch and Andrzej Lewandowski, celebrating a successful maiden partnership for Imperiale Racing together for the first time. And Andrzej Lewandowski scores victory. Carole Bosch, then there he is, onto the top step of the podium. Honours for the two poles in Pro-Am. So for the Italian Imperiale Racing team, the national anthem of the winning team for the two Polish drivers, Andrzej Lewandowski and Carole Bosch. Then the two victors in Pro-Am, as Federica Teneggi hands the trophies to the third-placed drivers. First of all, Loris Spinelli and there, Gerard van der Horst. There, Shota Abkazova, the Georgian motorsport impresario, and Latvian Harold Schlegelmilch. Just underlining the global representation in Lamborghini Super Trofeo these days. And then Federica Teneggi presents the trophies to the winners, Carole Bosch and Andrzej Lewandowski. Awards from Pirelli as well. Everybody then, complete with their gold, silver and bronze trophies, gets together for the group photograph. And we have two more podiums, of course, still to come, which will be, first of all, the AM drivers, and then we have the Lamborghini Cup celebrations as well. for the World Final, just to make the point that we have split races. There's one brace of races for the Pros and Pro-Ams and another for the AMs and the Lamborghini Cup drivers. And that's always quite interesting, actually, because you get to see the lower graded drivers pitching for outright honours rather than being swallowed up in the pack. But that's for tomorrow and Sunday. Today is all about these championship deciders in the regional championships. So another safety car affected race late on, of course. And interestingly, Stuart Middleton is under investigation for the restart after the safety car. I did hint that, assuming everything was all right, he'd be second, but he's being looked at for the restart procedure. So we shall keep an eye to this. 44 Galbiati, 3 Afanasiev, under investigation for contact on the last lap, and now Stuart Middleton for the safety car restart procedure. Trouble was, you had back markers in the mix, and so some drivers may have gone a bit early, and that's, I think, why Galbiati was delayed, because he was biding his time, but others perhaps were a little bit keener than others. However, the officials will have a look at it. They've got the cameras to help with our deliberations. Now, for the AM competition, I think this is where the delay is, because we are unsure about Mikko Eskelinen and Jake Rattenbury and whether they are classified third because they didn't take the flag. We should see in a minute. If there are the 2 drivers rather than the one of Oliver Freimuth, who would have inherited third, that'll be your answer. But the car was in 5th gear when it went off, Jake Rattenbury, Mikko Eskelinen's entry, so hopefully that'll be able to do the second race, but at the moment the team not sure, and they are classified third despite the accident. So there is Mikko Eskelinen, not quite sure he expected to be on the podium, but he's there for third place. Jake Rattenbury, the bearded Welsh driver, with him. And Mikko thinks, well, yeah, well, I've got on the podium anyway. Second place in the class to Raffaele Giannoni, and there Gilles Vanelay and Nicolas Gomard. Very happy drivers as the winning AMs and Raffaele Giannoni. It's got to be a very dark day when he takes off those shades. I tell you, I've hardly ever seen him without those. But it's a win for Gilles Vanelay and Nicolas Gomard within the AM Cup. Bravo, Nicolas Gomard. Gilles Vanelay leaps into the air as winner of the AM class. A very good drive indeed by the 2 Frenchmen to come through to score class honours. And in a moment or two, the trophies will be presented. There is Federico Teneggi once more. Federico Teneggi for the trophy presentation, and it's to Raffaele Giannoni. There you see Mikko Eskelinen and Jake Rattenbury already with their bronze trophies, and now to Nicolas Gomard and Gilles Vanelay. Gilles, who's done a huge amount of racing over the years in GT cars, in one-make saloon cars, and barely missed a season for a long, long time. So doing another excellent job here. So the Pirelli trophy presented to the pair of them, and well done to Raffaele Giannoni, who's encouraged into the picture for second, and also to Mikko Eskelinen and Jake Rattenbury, who take third place. We're not done yet, though. Got another one still to come, and the drivers for the Lamborghini Cup podium will be up the stairs shortly. So in a moment or two, we'll have the presentations underway for the Lamborghini Cup drivers.
Ahí está el champán.
So there is the car of Nico Gomar and Gio Vanade, les vainqueurs from the AM class, and the AGS events team operating that car as well as Joseph Colado's car successfully to honours. And we'll get to Joseph Colado in a moment or two because he will be on the top step of the Lamborghini Cup podium. Also there we will have the Semoulins, the championship leaders, Benoit and his father Francois Semoulin, the two Belgians, and it should be Superchai Wirabor Wampong for third. So teams are ready, and in a moment drivers will be there. So one race still to go in the Asian and European championships before the end of the weekend. Championship points being computed at the moment, and we'll have all of that ready for the second races this afternoon. The next one is due to start at 3:05 local time. It's now approaching 1:05 local time, as there is Superchai Wirabor Wampong. Out come Les Semoulins, François et Benoit. Et maintenant, the class winner, José Colado, for the top step of the podium, the victor in the Lamborghini Cup. José Colado then is a class winner, and just going back to the AM class for a moment, I just had a photograph offered up of the damage to Mikko Escalinen's car, and it looks like it's damaged the chassis because it was a very high speed impact, brake failure in fifth gear, so whether that car's out again is actually a moot point for the end of the day. Great shame. And of course its world final participation is then in doubt as well from the Lippert team, so the podium it may have been, but well, let's wait and see what happens next. Anyway, there are the Semoulins receiving the trophy, and that's for second, and there is the AM class winner, Joseph Colado, who's about to receive another trophy courtesy of Pirelli. And José Colado victorious after another impressive drive in another impressive season, because that's a fourth victory of the year, closing in the championship against the Semoulins with one more race to go. And there you see Superchai Wirabor Wampong, the Thai driver, joining them on the podium as well. So there you go, first races of the day underway and done for Asia, America and Europe, and we'll be back in effectively an hour and a half or so with the build-up to the afternoon's races, and therefore chance to reflect on what we've had this morning. Let's have a quick look back in a moment at the best bits of the European opener. We'll see you later on from David Addison and Marietta Evans. For now, goodbye from Jerez.